Hey Texas, this is CBS19 meteorologist Joel Robinson here with another update on another severe thunderstorm warning which has been issued until 6:45 p.m. and that's going to include Nacogdoches, Sabine, San Augustine, and Shelby counties. And we have the potential to see 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and some hail with this. Let's put this into motion here. We'll query some things out so I can tell you guys what exactly is going on. It's moving in a southeasterly track at about 20 miles per hour. So again, I wouldn't be too surprised to see a couple of areas flood just from all the rainfall. This thing is packing a lot of rain, as you can see, lots of lightning, which is indicative of a very healthy thunderstorm here. So let's queer this thing out right here. We have, let's see, 2-inch hail is going to be possible with this. According to the National Weather Service, this is radar indicated. Southeast at 30 miles per hour, 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts are going to be a possibility with this. So let's go ahead and time this out here so you can get an idea of when this will arrive into your location. So we'll go ahead and draw a line right here, and it's about 30 miles per hour. All right. Here we go. So San Augustine, you are about to be in the path of this storm here. 6:05 p.m. Denning at 6:09. Ford's Corner 6:17. Hempville area by 6:42 p.m. So those are some of the areas that will be impacted by this severe thunderstorm warning. And I wouldn't be too surprised, depending on how well this really maintains itself, it could potentially continue further into deep East Texas. So we could see an extension of the severe thunderstorm warning depending on how this performs. But as of right now, it's looking pretty healthy with 2-inch hail possible within this storm alone and 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts. So we have a weather impact alert day in place, and these are kind of the precursor thunderstorms to what's going to be coming in later, or what could be coming in later as we go into 10 p.m., 11 p.m., that kind of time frame. So as a result, we have a severe thunderstorm watch. For now, it's until 9 p.m., and that's actually, it's kind of interesting. It's actually before that main line of storms moves into the area. But we have a severe thunderstorm watch in effect until 9 p.m. The line of storms moves in actually around 10 to 11 o'clock. So this severe thunderstorm watch is going to go for some of the thunderstorms that we've been seeing so far that have been kind of popping up out of nowhere, seemingly. But the atmosphere is quote unquote juiced up, if you will, with plenty of moisture, and we have a lot of energy in the atmosphere at this time. So a lot of these thunderstorms that are developing are just taking advantage of what's already there. So now we have some thunderstorms that have reached severe limits. And so now we have a weather impact alert day in place for that specifically, and as well as the line of thunderstorms that are going to be moving through. Now, let's look at the severe weather outlook real quick, and then we'll go back to that severe thunderstorm warning in effect for deep East Texas here. We'll go here actually instead. So yes, weather impact alert day. Severe thunderstorms possible. We've already kind of seen that so far. 80-mile-per-hour wind gusts, flash flooding, and a low-end tornado threat. We actually did have a short-lived tornado warning in effect for Delta County earlier. That was quickly dropped and the storm did dissipate. So that's some good news there. But I do think there will be enough wind shear, or the change of wind with height, which is very, very crucial for tornado development. I think there will be enough shear to where we could see some isolated tornadoes with some of these storms. I do think, with the main line of storms coming in later, it'll be harder for it to rotate. So I think it'll be mainly a damaging wind threat out of this. But I do think, however, there is some data that does suggest that the storms will weaken over the course of the day. Let's go back to CBS 19 live radar. We'll zoom out a little bit at some of the activity that's going on. So once again, Nacogdoches, you're not really included in this warning. Parts of Nacogdoches County, absolutely. But Nacogdoches, you're not included in this warning, but you could get clipped by some of the lesser, not as strong part of the storm. But for those of you in San Augustine, Sexton, Choice, you are in this path of this this main updraft here, right here, and you can see there's a lot of lightning with this. And as the National Weather Service radar has indicated, we have the potential to see some large hail and some up to 70-mile-per-hour winds. So very, very strong thunderstorm. Let's take a zoom out here real quick. So got some clusters of thunderstorms close to the Jefferson and Longview area, starting to make their way down into I-20, but these are non-severe. That's a good thing. A couple of severe thunderstorm warnings off to our northwest, but you notice that they're kind of scattered around. Or not everybody's seeing severe weather right now, but if we go off to our west, that's when things are really, that's where things are really starting to materialize out there. We have several severe thunderstorm warnings. We got some flash flood warnings as well. We have a tornado warning in far west Texas in the Panhandle. So once these storms kind of materialize, they will have that potential to produce damaging winds of up to 80 to 100 miles per hour north of Dallas and through the Wichita Falls area. Although when it kind of moves through East Texas, it will start to weaken. At least that's what some data suggests. We do have the potential for it to weaken with some potentially dry air, and we're also going to be losing a lot of energy as we go into the early parts of tonight. So really hoping that that's the case here and that it'll be just run-of-the-mill thunderstorms. Let's walk you through this model here that we're kind of watching for here. So here we go. Let's time things out on our future skycast. So here's 11 p.m. Sunday. As we go into midnight, it's starting to weaken a little bit. It looks like, according to this, it could impact our southernmost parts of the viewing area and start to fizzle out. And if that's the case, that would be fantastic. I think, excuse me, a lot of data, especially this in particular, is suggesting that it'll weaken. And if this holds through, then we won't have anything to worry about tonight other than maybe some strong gusty winds to maybe 40 to 50 miles per hour, but nowhere near that 80-mile-per-hour mark. We're going to keep an eye on this as we continue through the day. But just to recap one more time, we have that severe thunderstorm warning that continues for Nacogdoches County, Sabine County, Shelby County, and San Augustine. So heads up there. Be sure to move indoors if you're in the path of this storm. I'll do one more timeline of this, and we're also live on Facebook as well. So if you have any questions on what is going on here, I will be happy to answer. There we go. Awesome. All right, now I have you guys up here. Okay, so we'll move this here, and then I'll go ahead and time it out one more time. Once again, southeasterly track of about 30 miles per hour, so not very fast, but San Augustine, heads up. You are on basically the leading edge right here of this storm. So if you are in San Augustine, make sure you are indoors for this. And even though you are not technically under the thunderstorm, at least the main part of the thunderstorm, lightning is in the vicinity. So if you're outside, make sure you move indoors promptly. So let's time it out one more time. Severe thunderstorm warning, and it goes until 6:45, if I remember that correctly. do one more time here. Bear with me, sorry guys. All right, one more time here. So once again, southeasterly track of about 30 miles per hour. There we go. Okay. So Nacogdoches, or excuse me, not Nacogdoches, San Augustine, it's right on your doorstep. The town of Nacogdoches itself, you're not included in this warning, but you still could potentially see some damaging, not damaging winds, but some gusty winds from this. Just from the outflow from this storm, you could potentially see some gusty winds even out ahead of the storm. So definitely a heads up there. Let's move this down. Here's some times. 6:34 for Hemphill, and then 6:51 for McElroy, 6:43 for Pineland, 6:54 for Clare, and 7:07 p.m. for Browndell. So if this storm maintains, which it looks like so far it would definitely will, and judging by the amount of lightning here, it's definitely a healthy storm. Generally, a healthier storm has more lightning, so this thing has plenty of lightning here. Let's actually go look at the lightning counter. All right, yeah, 500, over 500 strikes of lightning, so that's a lot of lightning there. So with this storm, is definitely severe limits for sure. And once again, let's clear this one more time. .45 p.m. is the expiration for this. We'll see if this continues on southward, and if it does, we'll be sure to let you know. And we're going to keep an eye on this, and we're also going to just keep an eye on things across the area because we have some scattered severe thunderstorms across the area. All right. All right. And I did see there was a little bit of rotation. I think it definitely did weaken a lot, which is good. We don't need anything there. I don't think that there's really no tornado threat with this at this time. Let's check things one more time. Okay, looks like we have, okay, we have a little bit of rotation there. A little bit of rotation, heads up. Slight rotation there, just northwest of Calgary, heading into San Augustine. So a little bit of rotation indicated here. Whatever develops here will be pretty rain wrapped because this thing is packing in a lot of rain. But here's that rotation signature there. Kind of hard to see. Of course, the radar beam, this is a little bit higher. The radar is up to the northeast, and at this point, it's going to be way up into the storm. So nothing really on the ground potentially. But I definitely think the storm is starting to rotate a little bit. We're starting to see a little bit of indication of some rotation within there. So we're definitely going to have to keep an eye on that. So if you live in Calgary, in San Augustine, just a heads up there. I want to see if the National Weather Service is saying anything about this here, because this is kind of a compelling signature here. We definitely got to keep an eye on that. Yes, yes, April. It's definitely, these storms have definitely taken advantage of this, the energy that's available right now, which I think will impact what we see tonight as well. Because if it taps into this energy, there may not be enough energy left over for storms later, which is a good thing because we certainly don't need anything else happening later tonight. But we're going to keep an eye on that for you as we head through the rest of the night. All right, let's see. I'm going to query this real quick, see if there's any updates there. It still remains in effect for until 6:45. 2-inch hail, 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts, still an issue here. Torrential rainfall, certainly. Flash flooding. Folks, do not drive your vehicle through flooded roadways. Don't even try. Always remember the saying, turn around, do not drown. So it's not really saying anything about any tornado possible, but I definitely think we need to stay on this for the time being, because this is a very, very interesting signature that we definitely need to keep an eye on. I also wanted to point out this as well. Let's go back to reflectivity. You can kind of see it on velocity as well. It actually might be a little bit better if we see it on velocity. But I wanted to point out this as well. So you folks in Nacogdoches, you see this red line right here? That's called an outflow boundary. And so basically what happens is you have cold air from the thunderstorm racing down at the ground, and it has nowhere to go but just fan out like this when it reaches the ground. And so that's where you can get some straight line winds. So you folks in Nacogdoches are actually getting in on that a little bit. So there could be some gusty winds heading into Nacogdoches County there, even into parts of, even closer to Rusk as well, past Cushing, San Augustine as well. So even if you look at the radar and you just see maybe the color is way far away, right? You see, you know, the colors, the blobs on the radar, they're kind of far away, right? But sometimes what will happen is ahead of it, the cold air from the thunderstorm can rush way ahead, and you could get some winds even way before the thunderstorm, the rain itself hits. So that's something to really keep in mind here. So that outflow boundary, or gust front, as we like to call it as well, is heading into the Nacogdoches area right now. Let's move on back over here. So still seeing a little bit of rotation there heading into Calgary, heading into San Augustine County here. So that's definitely something we're going to have to keep an eye on here. I'm not getting any indication from the National Weather Service really that we're seeing anything. All right. So for Tyler, sorry, that was too far in. Sorry about that. So for Tyler, we're pretty much in the clear right now. Everywhere else is kind of in the clear. The storm of the moment right now is this right here. So Nacogdoches, Sabine, San Augustine, Shelby. This right here is what we're watching for right now. I know these colors look a little funky, but just to recap for those of you who may be a little bit newer to weather, so green means winds are moving towards the radar, so the radar is up here. The green means winds are moving towards the radar. The red means winds are moving away from the radar. And sometimes when you get those two colors kind of, you know, by themselves, you can have that area of rotation. So that's kind of what we're concerned with right now. This right here, we got quite the push in winds right there. So definitely need to keep an eye on that. And whatever's in there, we have a lot of rain. Once again, whatever's in there is going to be rain wrap. So you're not going to be able to see it. Don't even try to look for it. Don't even try to do it. Let's go back to reflectivity. Yeah, so as I was saying before, so it's right in there. That's right in the middle of the rain. So again, if you're trying to look for it, don't look for it. You definitely need to be inside at this time. If you're in San Augustine, Calgary, you're right in the middle. Luckily, it's not moving very fast, but you know, time's a ticking. So once again, time now is 6:17, so we have about a little less than 30 minutes now until this severe thunderstorm warning expires. But I kind of want to stay on this just in case something drops out of it, because it kind of looks a tad bit concerning. It's starting to, let's see. Yeah, it's starting to kind of broaden out and weaken, maybe a little bit of a signature there. But we definitely have that opportunity today to see an isolated tornado or two. Let's check this as well. Yeah, not really seeing too much there either. Okay, let's query this real quick. Here's some hail. Some large hail here. Let's query this real quick. Okay, there we go. There's your severe thunderstorm warning that was issued at 5:51. Okay, so this is some estimated hail sizes, 3.5 to 5-inch hail near the Calgary area. Sorry, I know that's a lot to look at on your screen, so apologize there. Let's get rid of this real quick. Okay, so these are some radar estimated hail sizes. 5-inch hail just outside of Calgary, just basically down 96 there, south of Choice and just north of St. Augustine. So a very, very, very punchy hail core right there, potentially. So I think definitely some damage is going to be done there with this hail. But yeah, as I said before, Tyler, you are in the clear right now. Again, this is kind of the storm of the moment. These storms are kind of, I wouldn't say scattered, they're more isolated. Maybe like one or two of us are seeing these storms at this time. But yeah, this is the storm of the moment right now. So we got some very large hail with this. But it does look like, I'm going to check one more time, it does look like the storm is kind of weakening, at least in the rotation aspect of it. And it's a little bit difficult too because the radar is so far away, and the beam, it doesn't go this way, it goes like this. So the further you are away, the higher the beam is, and the radar itself here that we're getting data from is all the way up in Shreveport. So we're getting some data from this, but it's going to be a little bit higher up. So there's really, it's a little bit different. It's difficult to pick out, but it's definitely starting to look like it is weakening a little bit, but certainly a very strong hail core with this. So definitely a danger there, and then on top of that, some very strong wind gusts as well. So I think some tree damage is going to be likely, and some hail damage is definitely going to be likely as well. So we're going to keep an eye on this for just a little bit longer. But I think the tornado threat is kind of on the lower end at this point. But even without a tornado, this can definitely still do some damage. 70 mile per hour wind gusts is definitely not nothing. And certainly along with the hail, that's nothing to be laughing at either. So here we go, right there, crossing into St. Augustine County now. Let's time this thing out one more time so that you folks at home have an idea, a fresh idea of how this will track into the area. Okay, let's get rid of this stuff right here. Zoom out a little bit. It's in St. Augustine County at this point. It's right in there. I'll check for any updates on the National Weather Service as well. Let's try that again. Stay safe out there if you're in St. Augustine County at this time. Nacogdoches, you're getting it now, a little bit of this. The eastern side of Nacogdoches County in the Grigsby area, you're getting in on a little bit of this, but the main hail area is going to be towards the center where that big old core is. So let's zoom out a little bit. I guess I need to zoom out a little bit more. There we go. Let's get some fresh times in for you folks back at home. I apologize for the delay there. Okay. All right, here's some fresh times for you. Again, that's south movement at 30 miles per hour. So wherever town you're in, with this storm, it's not moving very fast. You're going to get really hammered with hail. as long as it kind of maintains itself. But here we go. Hemphill 639, Pineland 648, 655 for McElroy. Brookland by 7:02, 7:09 p.m. Browndell, and 7:25 p.m. for Collins. So just a heads up there. We're definitely going to keep an eye on this. We definitely still have a lot of energy available. We'll see if it kind of continues to make its way down into further into the Collins area, and if it does, we'll definitely keep you up to date there. But we have about 21 minutes left on this severe thunderstorm warning, and I don't really have any updates for us. It looks like the rotation has weakened, but I will give you a little bit of a recap here that a severe thunderstorm watch is still in effect now until 9 p.m. A lot of these storms are taking advantage of the atmosphere at this time. That could help us in a kind of a way. As long as these storms are tapping into the energy now, that will kind of help us determine what happens later when the bigger line of storms comes in later. And it looks like some of the data does suggest that it's going to be weakening a little bit, which is a really good thing. We certainly don't want any more issues for tonight. So for now, severe thunderstorm watch until 9 p.m. Make sure you have our CBS19 weather app downloaded, and make sure you have those alerts enabled as well. And make sure you have emergency alerts enabled on your phone as well for your safety and being able to get alerts. So make sure you have all of that. Once again, weather impact alert. The main hazards tonight are going to be those 80-mile-per-hour wind gusts, potentially. Flash flooding. These are very, very slow-moving storms, at least the ones that we've been seeing kind of scattered about, right? Very slow-moving storms could produce some flash flooding in some locations and a kind of a low-end tornado threat. Like we were saying before, we have that wind energy required to get some of those thunderstorms rotating, and we saw with that one storm that it was kind of rotating just slightly. So there's definitely enough spin in the atmosphere to maybe potentially get some tornadoes, but certainly a lot of energy available to get 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts and maybe some large hail, which radar estimated hail had up to 5 inches potentially. So we're going to continue to watch the atmosphere as we continue through the rest of the day, and we'll have the latest updates on CBS 19 News.